Millionaire CEO abandoned his fiancée at the altar. One call from his ex at the hospital changed everything. Hi, my beautiful family. Welcome back to Mr. Peter Stories, your own family story channel. May the Almighty look upon you with mercy and surround you with a peace that calms every storm in your life. May He bless every woman in this family with strength that never breaks, patience that never runs dry, and a heart so powerful it carries generations with love. Women are the quiet backbone of every home, the unseen sacrifice behind every success, the grace that holds families together even when the world is heavy. I pray for your health, your peace of mind, and the happiness of your families. May God protect you from silent pain, lift you when you feel tired, and reward every tear you wipe away in silence. May your days be filled with dignity, respect, and warmth, because you deserve honor for everything you give without asking. My beautiful family, if your heart is true, like the video. If your love is real, write, "I am with Mr. Peter." The cathedral smelled like expensive lilies and broken promises, and Liam Scott was about to make the biggest mistake of his life for the second time. 400 guests filled St. Michael's Cathedral, their whispers echoing off vaulted ceilings, while Manhattan's most powerful families watched two dynasties merge. Brielle Whitmore stood beside him in ivory silk, worth more than most people earned in a year, her smile perfect and practiced, every detail orchestrated for maximum social impact. The officiant's voice rolled through the sacred space like thunder, sealing a union everyone expected. "Do you, Liam Alexander Scott, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife?" His phone vibrated against his chest. Once, twice, 3 times rapidly. Brielle's smile tightened almost imperceptibly. The officiant paused mid-sentence. 400 phones emerged from pockets, already recording. Liam pulled out his phone. Unknown number. The text preview made his world tilt. Memorial Hospital Emergency. Amy Scott, age 9. Critical condition, acute leukemia. Need biological father, immediate bone marrow transplant. Amy Scott. The name from the private investigator's report he'd received 5 years ago and buried in a locked drawer. The daughter he knew existed but had chosen to forget. "I have to go," Liam heard himself say. "What?" Brielle's voice was sharp. "Emergency. I'm sorry, I have to—" He was already moving, walking away from the altar, from 400 witnesses whose phones captured every second. Brielle's mother, Vivica Whitmore, stood in the front pew, her face transforming to pure fury. Camera flashes erupted like lightning. Liam ran down the cathedral aisle and burst through the doors into November sunlight. Memorial Hospital's pediatric intensive care unit was 7 miles across Manhattan. Liam's hands shook on the steering wheel the entire drive, ignoring 17 calls from his mother Cordelia, 23 from his assistant, the constant barrage of texts. A nurse with exhausted eyes led him through corridors, smelling like antiseptic and desperation. "Room 347, she said softly. The door opened onto monitors, beeping their mechanical rhythm. IV bags hung like translucent fruit. In the bed, so small she barely made an impression under white sheets, lay a little girl with tubes in her arms and an oxygen cannula under her nose. Her skin was pale, almost translucent, dark circles under closed eyes. Brown hair spread across the pillow. She looked fragile and fierce simultaneously, fighting even in sleep. Standing beside the bed like a warrior carved from ice was Paige Cheetle, except this wasn't the Paige he remembered. The struggling 23-year-old design intern had been replaced by a woman wearing a midnight blue Armani suit, worth thousands, hair pulled back severely, diamond studs catching fluorescent light. She looked like money, power, success built without his help. "You actually came," Paige said, her voice flat and emotionless. "I honestly didn't think you would." What happened to her? Acute myeloid leukemia, rare subtype, extremely aggressive, diagnosed 3 weeks ago. Paige's eyes, darker, harder than he remembered, fixed on him. "She needs a bone marrow transplant from a biological match. We tried every donor registry, no matches. You're her only option." "How is she?" Don't. Paige's hand went up like a barrier. You don't get to ask. You don't get her history. You don't get to know her favorite color or what makes her laugh. You're genetic material. That's all you are. A doctor entered wearing scrubs with cartoon bears. Mr. Scott, I'm Dr. Rahman. We need to move quickly. Amy's condition is deteriorating. We need your consent for testing and potential bone marrow extraction. Paige slid a clipboard across the table. Sign here. Here. Initial there. Liam's hand trembled as he signed without reading. The door opened again. A tall man walked in, 40, dark hair silvering at temples, expensive watch. He crossed directly to Paige and placed a protective hand on her shoulder. She leaned into him naturally. Vincent, Paige said quietly. This is Liam, the donor. Vincent Torres looked at Liam with eyes that assessed and dismissed him. He didn't offer his hand. Amy's been asking for you, he told Paige. Then to Liam, thank you for coming. We'll take it from here. Dismissed like hired help. Liam looked at the girl in the bed. Amy, 9 years old, his daughter, a complete stranger who shared his DNA and nothing else. She had his eyes, he realized, the same dark brown, same shape. He turned toward the door when Amy's eyes suddenly fluttered open. She looked directly at him, confused and scared. Mom? Her voice was heartbreakingly small. Who is that man? Paige was at her bedside instantly. Nobody important, sweetheart, just a donor helping you get better. Close your eyes now. He looks sad, Amy whispered. Don't worry about him. Worry about getting strong. Amy's eyes closed again. Liam made it to the elevator before his legs almost gave out. The doors closed. His phone exploded with notifications, 53 texts, 26 missed calls. His assistant, Rachel, Mr. Scott, you need to see this now. He opened Twitter. Trending #1 worldwide, #runaway groom. Videos from every angle, photos of him abandoning Brielle at the altar. Think pieces already publishing, the CEO who couldn't commit. When powerful men run, Manhattan's most expensive wedding ends in disaster. A nurse ran after him. Mr. Scott, wait, Dr. Rahman needs to speak with you. The doctor appeared breathless. Mr. Scott, Amy's treatment requires multiple procedures over the next 8 weeks. 6 extractions minimum. We need you physically present in New York as a potential emergency donor. If something goes wrong, we'll need you here within an hour. Can you commit to staying for 2 months? 8 weeks. 2 months staying close while his world burned. Yes, Liam said, whatever she needs. This isn't small, Mr. Scott. You cannot leave the city, no business trips. You need available any moment, day or night. If you're not here when we need you, Amy's survival rate drops below 30%. Your presence is literally the difference between your daughter living or dying. Liam looked back toward room 347. Through the window, he could see Paige holding Amy's hand, Vincent standing guard, a complete family that had formed without him. I understand, he said firmly. I'll stay, for as long as you need. Liam walked out into November, twilight feeling apocalyptic. His car sat where he'd left it, but photographers had found him, dozens waiting like vultures. Liam, why did you abandon your bride? Who's the child in the hospital? Is it true you have a secret daughter? Brielle's family is threatening legal action. Scott Industries stock is crashing. Liam pushed through without answering, got in his car, locked the doors. His phone buzzed. His mother, Cordelia. Emergency board meeting tomorrow, 8 a.m. Be there or consider yourself finished. He sat watching darkness fall over Manhattan. Another notification. Scott Industries stock drops 18% in after-hours trading following CEO's catastrophic wedding abandonment. Everything he'd built over 15 years was collapsing. And somewhere in that hospital, a 9-year-old girl who called him that man was the only thing that mattered anymore. His phone buzzed one final time. Text from unknown number. She's still awake. Liam looked up at the hospital. 4th floor, lights burning. He could see shadows moving. He got out of his car and went back inside. Chapter 2. The empire she built without him. Morning arrived with crushing weight. and Liam Scott woke in his penthouse feeling like a stranger in his carefully constructed life. 43rd floor, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park, 11,000 square feet of Italian marble and custom everything, the kind of home in architectural magazines. He'd purchased this 5 years ago as proof he'd made it, as evidence abandoning Page had been correct. Now it felt like a mausoleum. His phone showed 342 notifications. He ignored everything except one. Board meeting in 1 hour. Do not be late. Company is hemorrhaging. Mother. Scott Industries headquarters occupied 3 impressive floors of glass and steel in Midtown. Liam had worked here 15 years, starting as junior analyst, systematically working up through brilliant deals, transforming his father's modest construction business into a billion-dollar empire. Walking through the lobby this morning felt like enemy territory. Every employee looked at him differently, some with pity, others with disgust, many with satisfaction. The golden boy had fallen. The executive conference room was designed to intimidate. Massive mahogany table, leather chairs costing $3,000 each, windows offering panoramic Manhattan views. 8 board members sat waiting, expressions ranging from concerned to hostile. Cordelia Scott sat at the head where she'd commanded 40 years, building this from her late husband's modest business into a powerhouse through determination and ruthlessness. 73, wearing Chanel-like armor, hair perfectly silver, eyes like ice chips. She'd taught Liam everything about business and nothing about being human. "Sit down," she commanded without preamble. Liam sat. "Explain yesterday's disaster." "My daughter is in the hospital with leukemia. She needs bone marrow transplants over 2 months. I'm the only match. She'll die without me." Silence descended like physical weight. Roger Vance, majority shareholder, spoke first. "Daughter, you don't have children. This was verified during background checks for the Whitmore Alliance." "I have a daughter, 9 years old, Amy Scott. I didn't acknowledge her existence." "Why not?" another board member demanded. "Because I was a coward," Liam thought. "Because I paid an investigator to confirm Page was pregnant, then deliberately disappeared. Because I chose this company over being a father." "It's complicated," he said. "Uncomplicated immediately," Cordelia demanded. "Because Vivica Whitmore called me at 6 this morning furious. Her family is pulling every business relationship with Scott Industries, 80 million in active contracts. Gone. The Whitmore Holdings partnership we spent 2 years negotiating. Dead. Our stock dropped 18% yesterday and is down another 12% this morning. In 24 hours, you've cost this company $300 million. So, uncomplicate it now." Liam met his mother's ice-cold eyes. 10 years ago, I was with someone. She became pregnant. I found out through a private investigator and left deliberately. Yesterday was the first time I've seen her or my daughter. The child is dying. I had to go. And you couldn't have explained before publicly abandoning Brielle Whitmore in front of 400 people and every major media outlet?" Cordelia's voice dripped acid. "There wasn't time." "There's always time to not humiliate this family." Roger Vance cleared his throat. "The board has significant concerns about your judgment and leadership. We're calling a vote of no confidence in 30 days, unless you stabilize the situation." "What does that mean?" "Fix this mess, or we remove you as CEO. You have 1 month to restore investor confidence, repair relationships, prove you can lead. Otherwise, your role becomes symbolic." The meeting continued another 90 brutal minutes. By the time Liam escaped to his office, it was almost noon and his phone was ringing. The hospital. "Mr. Scott, this is Dr. Rahman. Amy's second procedure is scheduled tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. We need you here by 5:30. Can you confirm?" "I'll be there." "Good. Also, Ms. Cheetle has requested you only visit during scheduled medical procedures. You're not permitted to see Amy outside treatment requirements." The words hit like a blow. "She won't let me visit my own daughter." "Amy doesn't want to see you, Mr. Scott. Ms. Cheetle is respecting her daughter's wishes. If that changes, we'll inform you. Until then, medical procedures only." The call ended. Liam sat in his office and opened his laptop. He typed Paige Cheetle into Google. What appeared destroyed him. Meridian Fashion Group. Founder and CEO, Paige Cheetle. Valuation, $200 million. Sustainable luxury clothing sold in 40 countries, worn by celebrities, featured in Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, Elle, Forbes 30 Under 30 alumna. Business Insider's self-made women changing fashion. Keynote speaker at UN Fashion Summit. He clicked through images. Paige at the Met Gala, in a gown she'd designed, looking like royalty. Paige accepting awards, radiating confidence. Paige on Vogue business cover. How she built an empire while the world tried to break her. He'd abandoned a struggling 23-year-old intern. She'd become a titan. One article had a line that made him want to vomit. When asked how she built Meridian while raising a daughter alone, Cheetle responds with grace. You'd be surprised what you can accomplish when no one tells you that you can't. His phone buzzed. Text from Graham. Dude, you need to see this. A TikTok link. Someone had remixed footage of him abandoning Brielle with Beyoncé's Irreplaceable playing over it. 3 million views in 18 hours. Comments were brutal. Imagine being so rich and still being trash. That poor woman dodged a bullet. He has a secret kid? How do these men keep getting worse? His humiliation was entertainment. His failure was content. Another text from Graham. There's more. A news article. Runaway groom Liam Scott's business rival makes move on Scott Industries assets. Cade Brenner, owner and CEO of Titan Development, the company trying to destroy Scott Industries for a decade. The article detailed how Brenner was reaching out to Scott Industries clients, offering better terms, positioning Titan as the stable alternative to chaos. Liam was losing everything in real time. His phone rang. His brother Jasper. You seeing this? Which part? Mom's calling another board meeting tonight. Emergency session. She's removing you, Liam. She's installing me as CEO. She wouldn't. She would, and she's going to. She called me an hour ago, asked if I was ready to lead. I said yes. Jasper, younger by 6 years, ambitious, resentful of Liam's success, would jump at this. This is what you wanted all along, Liam said flatly. Yeah, it is, but not like this. Not with you destroyed. I wanted to beat you fair. Jasper paused. For what it's worth, I'm sorry about your kid, but maybe you should have thought about her before building your life pretending she didn't exist. The call ended. Liam sat in his office as afternoon became evening and Manhattan lit up below like a civilization burning. His assistant Rachel knocked softly. Mr. Scott, the board is convening at 7. They're requesting your presence. Tell them I'll be there. But at 6:30, his phone rang. The hospital. Mr. Scott, there's been a complication. Amy's temperature spiked dangerously. We need to move up tomorrow's procedure to tonight. We need you here in 30 minutes. I'm on my way. He texted Rachel. Tell the board I can't make it. Family emergency. Her response, Mr. Scott, your mother says if you don't attend, she's removing you from the board entirely. This is your last chance. Liam looked at his phone. The hospital or the board meeting, his daughter or his company, the choice that would define everything. He called Rachel. Tell my mother I'm not coming. Tell her she can do whatever she wants with the company. I have somewhere more important to be. He grabbed his keys and ran toward the elevator. Chapter 3. The daughter who calls him the DNA match. Amy Scott woke Thursday morning feeling less like she was dying, which wasn't the same as feeling good, but was definitely better. Her fever had broken sometime during the night, and while her body still felt heavy and wrong, her mind was clearer than it had been in weeks. She opened her eyes to find her mum asleep in the chair beside her bed, still holding her hand even while unconscious. Uncle Vin was gone. Probably went to his hotel to shower and change. He'd do that sometimes, disappear for a few hours, but always come back. The door opened quietly. A nurse, the nice one named Jennifer, who always brought extra apple juice, came in with a clipboard. Good morning, sunshine. How are you feeling? Tired, but better. That's because the treatment last night worked. Your fever broke. Your numbers are improving. Jennifer checked monitors, made notes. Your mum's exhausted. She's been awake almost 36 hours straight. She won't leave me, Amy said. I know, but she needs sleep, and so do you. Jennifer adjusted the IV. The man who donated bone marrow last night, he saved your life. The doctors weren't sure you'd make it, but the fresh marrow turned everything around. Amy didn't say anything. She knew who Jennifer meant. The DNA match. The man her mum refused to talk about except to say he existed and made a choice long ago. Would you like to see him? Jennifer asked carefully. He's been sleeping in his car in the parking lot. Hasn't left since yesterday. No. Amy. I said no. Amy's voice was sharp, stronger than she felt. I don't want to see him. I don't care if he saved my life. He had 9 years to care about me and he didn't. Why should I care now? Jennifer nodded slowly. Okay, I understand. I'll let Dr. Rahman know. After Jennifer left, Paige stirred and woke. Her eyes were red, exhausted, but she smiled seeing Amy awake. Hey baby, how do you feel? Better. Jennifer said my fever broke. It did. You scared me badly. Paige smoothed Amy's hair. But you're strong, stronger than anyone I know. Mom? Yeah? Is he still here? The DNA match? Paige's expression tightened, almost imperceptibly. Yes, the hospital needs him nearby in case there are complications with future procedures. I don't want to see him. You don't have to. I told the nurses and doctors, medical procedures only. He doesn't come into this room unless medically necessary. Good. Amy paused. Why is he here now? Why not before? It was the question Paige had been dreading. She'd promised herself she'd never lie to Amy about Liam, never pretend he didn't exist, but also never make excuses. Because he didn't know you were sick until 3 days ago, Paige said carefully. And now that he knows, he's staying to help. But he knew I existed, right? You told me he knew. He knew. Then why didn't he come before? How do you tell a 9-year-old that her father chose not to know her? Because he made bad choices, Paige said honestly. Choices he can't take back. Choices that hurt both of us. Do you hate him? I used to. Now I just nothing him. He's not important enough to hate. Amy thought about this. I think I hate him. That's okay. You're allowed to feel however you feel. If I hate him, does that make me a bad person? No, baby. It makes you human. They sat in silence, holding hands. Then Amy said, I want to go home. I know. Soon. The doctors say if the next few procedures go well, you might be able to come home in a month. A month? I know it feels like forever, but we'll get through it. We always do. Meanwhile, Liam woke in his car in the hospital parking lot with his neck bent at an angle guaranteeing pain. He'd been sleeping in his Mercedes for 3 nights now, ever since his mother had changed the locks on his penthouse. Turned out when your mother owned the building and you were just a tenant, she could evict you surprisingly quickly. His phone showed 93 new notifications. He ignored most, opened the news instead. Scott Industries in freefallers' new CEO Jasper Scott makes series of disastrous decisions. Liam Scott's abandoned fiancée Brielle, Whitmore breaks silence, I dodged a bullet. Vivica Whitmore files $15 million lawsuit against Liam Scott for breach of promise. His world was burning and he was watching from a parking lot. His phone rang. Graham. You still alive? Barely. You eaten today? No. I'm bringing you breakfast. Don't move. 20 minutes later, Graham appeared with coffee and bagels. They sat in Liam's car, eating in silence. You look like hell, Graham finally said. I feel like hell. Your mum really locked you out. Changed security codes, had my belongings packed and put in storage, froze my credit cards, cut off my salary. I have about $800 in my personal checking and that's it. Jesus! Yeah. Graham was quiet for a moment. You know what's crazy? A week ago, you were getting married to one of the richest women in New York. You had $1 billion company. You were on top of the world. Now you're homeless and eating bagels in a parking lot. I'm aware. Was it worth it, coming here for your daughter? Liam thought about Amy's small body in that hospital bed, tubes everywhere, fighting for every breath. Yes. Even though she won't see you? Even though Paige hates you? Even though you lost everything? Yes. Graham nodded. Then I guess you finally figured out what actually matters. I figured it out about 9 years too late. Better late than never. After Graham left, Liam went into the hospital to use the bathroom and change his shirt in the public restroom. He'd been doing this every morning, using hospital facilities like he was homeless, which technically he was. A few nurses recognized him now, gave him sympathetic looks, but nobody said anything. He was washing his face when his phone buzzed. Text from a number he didn't recognize. This is Cade Brenner. You missed our meeting this morning. I'm giving you one more chance. Tomorrow, 9 a.m., Princeton Club. If you don't show, the offer disappears forever, and I move forward with hostile takeover of what's left of Scott Industries. Your choice. Liam deleted the text. He went to the hospital cafeteria and bought the cheapest thing, turkey sandwich and water for $8, sat in a corner booth, eating slowly, making it last. That's where Paige found him. She appeared at his table without warning, standing there in a different designer suit, deep burgundy, looking down at him with an expression he couldn't read. "Can I sit?" she asked. Liam gestured to the empty seat. Paige sat, folded her hands on the table. "Amy's procedure tomorrow has been moved up to this afternoon," she said. "Emergency extraction. Dr. Rahman will explain. You need to be ready in 2 hours." "I'll be there." "Good." Paige started to stand. "Wait," Liam said. "Please, can I ask you something?" She sat back down slowly. "What? Why did you name her Amy?" Paige's expression softened slightly. "Because when she was born, I held her and she was so small and perfect, and I looked at her and thought, you are beloved. That's what Amy means in French. Beloved. Because even though I was terrified and alone and had no idea how I was going to survive, I loved her completely from the first second." Liam's throat tightened. "She's lucky to have you. She's alive because of me. Because I worked 3 jobs while pregnant. Because I gave up everything to make sure she had what she needed. Because I built Meridian so she could have a future." Paige's voice was steel. "Where were you while I was doing that?" "I don't know. Building a company that didn't matter. Living a life that was empty. I don't want your self-pity. I want you to understand what you chose. You chose nothing. You chose absence. You chose to be a ghost in your own daughter's life. I know. Do you? Because Amy asked me this morning why you didn't come before. Why you knew she existed but never tried to see her, and I had to tell her the truth, that you didn't care enough to try. Do you know what that does to a child? To know that one of the people who made you decided you weren't worth knowing? I'm sorry. Stop saying you're sorry. Sorry doesn't give me back 10 years. Sorry doesn't give Amy a father who was there for her first steps, her first day of school, every nightmare, every triumph. Sorry is just a word you use to make yourself feel better. Then what do you want me to say? Nothing. I don't want you to say anything. I want you to show up for the medical procedures, donate what's needed, and then disappear from our lives forever. I can't do that. Yes, you can. You've been doing it for 9 years. I mean, I won't. I'm not leaving. Not this time. Paige laughed, bitter and cold. You think you get to decide that? You think you can show up after a decade and claim parental rights? Vincent has been more of a father to Amy than you'll ever be. He's the one she calls when she's scared. He's the one who taught her to ride a bike. He's the one who reads to her every night. What are you? A stranger who happens to share her DNA. I want to change that. You can't. Some things can't be fixed, Liam. Some abandonment is too complete. She stood and walked away, leaving Liam alone with his $8 sandwich and the wreckage of everything he'd destroyed. 2 hours later, he was in the procedure room again, lying on his side while they drove a needle into his hip bone for the second time in 4 days. The pain cut through the local anesthetic, made him grit his teeth, but he didn't make a sound. Through the window, he could see into Amy's room. She was awake this time, watching TV, looking small and brave, and completely unaware he was 30 feet away donating bone marrow to keep her alive. Paige saw him through the window. Their eyes met for just a second. Then she turned away and focused entirely on Amy, as if Liam had ceased to exist. The extraction finished. They bandaged him and told him to rest. "Mr. Scott," Dr. Rahman said, "I need to be honest. Amy's body is struggling more than we anticipated. We're going to need at least 4 more procedures over the next 6 weeks, maybe more. Are you prepared?" "Whatever she needs. It's going to be painful. Each extraction gets harder." "I don't care." Dr. Rahman studied him for a moment. "Most donor fathers request anesthesia after the second extraction. You've refused both times. Why?" "Because she's suffering more than I am. If she can endure this, so can I." "You realize she doesn't want to see you? That she's asked multiple times for you not to be here?" "I know." "Then why are you doing this?" "Because she's my daughter, and I failed her for 9 years. I won't fail her now." Dr. Rahman nodded slowly. "For what it's worth, Mr. Scott, you're doing the right thing, even if nobody acknowledges it." Liam went back to his car and fell asleep for 3 hours, exhausted from the procedure. He woke at sunset to 17 missed calls from Jasper. He called back, "Liam, thank God. I've been trying to reach you for hours. We have a massive problem." "What now?" "Cade Brenner just bought 19% of Scott Industries stock. He bought it during the crash for pennies. He's now the second largest shareholder after Mom, and he's demanding a board seat. So give it to him. You don't understand. If he gets a board seat, he'll have enough influence to push for a hostile takeover vote. He could take the entire company, Liam. Everything Mom built, everything Dad built, gone." "Then stop him." "I don't know how. I've been CEO for 5 days and I'm already drowning. I don't know what I'm doing. The investors know I don't know. Mum won't admit she made a mistake putting me in charge. We're bleeding money and clients every day. We need you back." "I can't come back. I have to stay here." "For how long?" "For as long as Amy needs me. 6 weeks at minimum. In 6 weeks there won't be a company left to save. Then I guess the company dies." Jasper was silent for a long moment. "I never thought I'd hear you say that." "Neither did I." "For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I wanted your job, but I didn't want it like this. I didn't want to watch you lose everything." "I didn't lose everything, Jasper. I lost things that didn't matter. I'm just figuring out what does." After the call ended, Liam sat in his car watching the sunset turn Manhattan gold and orange. His phone buzzed. Another text from the unknown number, Cade Brenner. "Last chance, Scott. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. I'm offering you a way out, a way to rebuild. But if you don't show up, I'm taking everything that's left of your family's legacy and burning it to the ground. Your choice. Choose wisely." Liam looked up at the hospital window, where his daughter was recovering from her second procedure, where Paige sat beside her, holding her hand, being everything Amy needed. He deleted Brenner's text and turned off his phone. Some things were more important than empires, even if nobody believed him yet. Even if it cost him everything. Even if the only person who'd ever see him choose differently was himself. Chapter 4. The Day His Secrets Became Headlines. The story broke at 6:14 in the morning while Liam slept in his car, and by 6:45 when he woke, his entire existence had been reduced to a single devastating headline. His phone vibrated so violently it fell off the dashboard. 97 missed calls, 234 text messages, emails flooding faster than his phone could process. He opened Twitter and felt his stomach drop. Trending #1 worldwide, Liam Scott knew. The headline on TMZ, "Runaway Groom, knew about secret daughter for years. Exclusive documents prove Scott Industries CEO paid private investigator to confirm pregnancy, then deliberately ghosted baby mama." Someone had leaked the report. The entire investigation he'd commissioned 10 years ago was now completely public. Photos of Paige at an OB/GYN clinic, lab results confirming pregnancy at 8 weeks, financial records showing he'd paid $12,000 for the investigation, and most damning, a handwritten note in his own writing. Confirmed pregnant. Recommend zero contact with subject. Proceed with business school application as planned. Avoid all financial liability. He hadn't just abandoned her. He'd calculated her erasure. The documents were everywhere. Every news site, every gossip blog, every social media platform. Photos of that note in his handwriting were being shared millions of times with captions like, "This is what evil looks like," and "Imagine being this heartless," and "I hope his daughter never forgives him." His phone rang. Rachel, his former assistant. "Mr. Scott, I'm so sorry. I tried to warn you, but you weren't answering. The board is meeting right now. Your mother called an emergency session. They're voting to remove you completely. Not just as CEO, but from the board entirely. They're erasing you from Scott Industries." "Who leaked the report?" "We don't know, but Mr. Scott, it's bad. The stock is in total collapse. We're down 48% since market opened 30 minutes ago. Clients are terminating contracts. Investors are pulling out. The company is—" She stopped. Liam could hear voices in the background. Someone was crying. "Rachel, what's happening?" "Your mother, she collapsed. They're calling an ambulance. Oh my God. Mr. Scott, I think she's having a stroke." The line went dead. Liam sat in his car in the hospital parking lot, watching his phone explode with notifications about his destruction, while somewhere across the city, his mother was collapsing from watching her life's work implode. He should go to her. She was his mother. She'd raised him, taught him everything about business, built an empire to pass down to him. But Amy had a procedure at 8 a.m. They needed him there by 7:30 for preparation. His phone rang again. Jasper. "Mom's at Mount Sinai. Hemorrhagic stroke. They don't think she's going to make it, Liam. You need to come now." "I can't. I have to be at Memorial Hospital in 30 minutes. "Are you serious right now? Mom is dying." "Amy needs bone marrow. If I'm not there, her procedure gets delayed. If it gets delayed, her chances of survival drop significantly. Choose Mom. She's your mother. She gave you everything. And I'm giving my daughter what I should have given her 9 years ago, my presence. Tell Mom I'm sorry. Tell her I love her, but I can't leave Amy again." He hung up on his brother. At 7:30, Liam walked into Memorial Hospital and directly into a media ambush. Someone had tipped off the press. There were cameras, reporters, microphones being shoved in his face. "Liam, did you really abandon your pregnant girlfriend? Why did you hide your daughter for 9 years? Do you regret what you did? Your mother is dying and you're here. What kind of son are you?" Security cleared them, but the damage was done. Everyone in the hospital knew who he was now. The nurses who'd been sympathetic before now looked at him with disgust. The doctors were coldly professional. He'd gone from sympathetic figure to monster in one news cycle. Dr. Rahman met him in the prep area. "Mr. Scott, we need to discuss something before we proceed." "What?" "Paige requested that you not be present during Amy's procedure today. She said having you nearby is causing Amy emotional distress." "But you need my bone marrow." "We've already extracted what we need. You donated yesterday. We have enough stored for today's procedure and the next one. So technically, your physical presence isn't required." Liam's chest tightened. "You're asking me to leave?" "I'm telling you that the patient's emotional well-being is our priority, and right now your presence is detrimental to that." "Can I see her, just for a minute?" "I don't think that's—" "Please, let me tell her I'm sorry. Let me explain." Dr. Rahman hesitated, then nodded. "1 minute. If she gets upset, you leave immediately." Room 347. Amy was awake, sitting up in bed, looking at her phone. She looked healthier than last week, color returning, eyes brighter. The treatments were working. Paige saw him in the doorway and her entire body tensed. "Get out." "I just want to talk to Amy for 1 minute." "No." But Amy looked up, saw him. Her expression hardened in a way that looked too adult for a 9-year-old. "It's okay, Mom. Let him talk." Paige looked like she wanted to argue, but she respected Amy's choice. 1 minute. I'm right here the entire time." Liam walked to the foot of Amy's bed, keeping distance. Amy, I know you've seen the news. I know you know what I did. And I want you to understand that everything they're saying is true. I did abandon your mom. I did know she was pregnant. I chose not to be part of your life. Why? Amy's voice was steady, controlled. Because I was scared and selfish. Because I wanted to build a business empire more than I wanted to be a father. Because I thought success was more important than you. Was it? No, I was wrong about everything. Are you only here now because I'm sick? If I wasn't dying, would you have come? The question destroyed him. I don't know. Probably not. Which makes me a coward. Yeah, it does. Amy's eyes were his eyes. Same shape, same color, but filled with a strength he'd never possessed. My mom built a whole company while raising me alone. She worked 3 jobs. She slept like 4 hours a night for years. She did everything by herself. And you just lived your life like we didn't exist. I know. I don't forgive you. I don't expect you to. I don't even like you. You're just the person who's keeping me alive. I know that too. Good. Amy looked back at her phone. You can go now. I don't want to see you anymore. Liam looked at Paige. Her expression was unreadable. I'm sorry, he said to both of them. To no one. To himself. He left before his voice could break. In the hallway, he ran into Vincent Torres. The architect looked at him with something approaching pity. She's a tough kid, Vincent said. She gets it from Paige. Yeah, Paige is the strongest person I've ever known. Vincent paused. For what it's worth, I read the leaked documents. You were worse than I thought. I know. But you're here now. That counts for something. Not much, but something. Does Paige think that? Paige thinks you're 10 years too late and trying to buy forgiveness with bone marrow. She thinks you're only here because guilt finally caught up. She thinks once Amy is better, you'll disappear again. I won't. That's what every man says, but Paige has been disappointed by too many people. She won't believe you until you prove it. And proving it takes years, not weeks. Vincent walked past him into Amy's room, and Liam was left standing in the hallway alone. His phone buzzed. Text from Jasper. Mum's in surgery. They're trying to stop the bleeding in her brain. It doesn't look good. Where are you? Liam typed back, I'm exactly where I need to be. Another text, this one from an unknown number. You didn't show up to our meeting. Again. I'm moving forward with the hostile takeover. By end of business today, I'll own controlling interest in Scott Industries. Your mother's life's work, mine now. Hope your daughter was worth it. Brenner. Liam sat in the hospital cafeteria with coffee he couldn't afford and watched his phone fill with news alerts. Scott Industries stock in total collapse. Trading halted due to volatility. Titan Developments' Cade Brenner announces hostile takeover bid for Scott Industries. Cordelia Scott undergoes emergency brain surgery after massive stroke. Liam Scott's abandoned daughter reportedly refuses to see him. Everything he'd ever built, everything his family had created over 4 decades, was being destroyed in real time while he sat in a hospital cafeteria, drinking bad coffee and being hated by his own daughter. His phone rang one more time. A reporter from the New York Times. Mr. Scott, I'm writing a feature about your situation. Would you like to comment? No. Do you regret your choices? Every single one. Are you trying to repair your relationship with your daughter? I'm trying. She doesn't want me to. I don't blame her. What would you say to men who are in similar situations? Men who have children they've abandoned or ignored? Liam thought about this. I'd say that every day you're not there is a day you can't get back. I'd say that business empires and money and success mean nothing if you're not connected to the people who actually matter. I'd say that your children will survive without you, but they shouldn't have to. And I'd say that I hope they're smarter than I was, because I've lost everything and I deserve every bit of it. Thank you for your honesty, Mr. Scott. The call ended. Liam sat in the cafeteria until visiting hours were over and the hospital dimmed its lights. He walked back to his car in the parking lot, climbed in, and tried to sleep on seats that weren't made for sleeping. At 2 in the morning, his phone buzzed with a text from Jasper. "Mom made it through surgery. She's in a coma. They don't know if she'll wake up. I'm here alone. Everyone else from the family has abandoned ship. If she dies, you weren't here. I hope you can live with that." Liam stared at the text for a long time. Then he looked up at the hospital window where Amy slept, where Paige kept vigil, where Vincent probably sat reading in the corner chair, being exactly what Liam should have been for 9 years. He'd made his choice, and for the first time in his life, he'd chosen right even though it cost him absolutely everything, even though nobody believed him, even though his daughter hated him, even though he'd destroyed his family's legacy and broken his mother's heart. He'd chosen to stay, and that had to be enough, because nothing else was left. Chapter 5. When everything turned, hospital parking lots at 3 in the morning existed between crisis and rest, and Liam Scott had learned to sleep in 45-minute increments between nightmares. 8 days in his Mercedes, ever since Cordelia Scott had evicted him and frozen every account, severed every financial connection to family wealth. $647 remained in his checking. The car would run out of gas soon. He showered in hospital bathrooms, changed clothes in toilet stalls, brushed his teeth over sinks while security pretended not to notice. His phone buzzed. 4 a.m. Text from Jasper. "Mom woke up an hour ago. Can't speak. Left side completely paralyzed. Doctors say she might never recover. They're discussing long-term care facilities. She's trapped in her body, Liam, and you're not here." Liam stared at the message until his screen went dark. His mother, who taught him success mattered more than people, that business was family, was imprisoned in her failing body while he sat outside a different hospital, waiting to donate more bone marrow to a daughter who hated him. Another text from Jasper. "Board voted unanimously to accept Brenner's takeover offer. Titan Development owns 73% of Scott Industries now. They're absorbing everything. The Scott name disappears by month's end. 40 years of work, gone because you chose a kid you don't even know." Liam should feel rage or grief. He felt only exhausted. At 6 a.m., he entered Memorial Hospital through the emergency entrance where security was lighter. He'd learned the patterns, the shift changes, the windows where he could slip through unnoticed. Coffee from the cafeteria with his last $5 bill, corner booth watching morning news. The anchor discussed him. In what analysts call one of the swiftest corporate collapses in New York history, Scott Industries has been completely absorbed by Titan Development. The family dynasty that controlled billions is now a footnote in CEO Cade Brenner's empire. Meanwhile, former CEO Liam Scott remains at Memorial Hospital, reportedly sleeping in his car, essentially homeless. They showed a photo, haggard, unshaven, walking through the hospital in wrinkled clothes. His destruction was content. His failure was entertainment. "Mr. Scott?" He turned. Dr. Rahman stood there with 2 cups of coffee. "May I sit?" Liam gestured to the empty seat. Dr. Rahman set 1 coffee before him. "You look like you haven't slept in days." "I haven't." "Where are you staying?" "My car." "Mr. Scott, that's not sustainable. There are shelters." "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You're exhausted, malnourished, and if you continue like this, you'll be useless as a donor. Amy needs you healthy." "How is she?" "Responding well to treatment. Her numbers improve steadily, but we need to discuss something." Dr. Rahman paused carefully. "Amy asked about you yesterday." Liam's chest tightened. "What did she say?" "She asked if you were okay, if you had somewhere to live, if you were eating properly." Dr. Rahman smiled slightly. "She's 9 years old, fighting leukemia, and she's worried about you. That's who she is." "Did Paige hear her ask?" "Yes. And Paige told her not to worry about you, that you could handle yourself. But Amy said something that matters. She said, even if I hate him, I don't want him to die in a parking lot. That would be sad. She still hates me." "Yes, But there's a difference between hate and indifference. Hate means she feels something. Indifference would be worse. Liam wrapped his hands around the coffee cup. What do I do? Keep showing up, keep being here, and stop sleeping in your car before hypothermia gets you. Dr. Rahman stood. Amy's next procedure is tomorrow at 6 a.m. We need you here by 5:30. After she left, Liam sat until 8 o'clock, then walked to the bathroom to wash and change. As he dried his hands, his phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Mr. Scott, this is Cade Brenner. We've been playing phone tag long enough. Liam tensed. What do you want? To meet. I've tried arranging this for 2 weeks. You've ignored every attempt. I'm not interested in whatever you're selling. I'm not selling anything. I'm offering you a future. By destroying my family's company. Your family's company was already destroyed. I acquired the assets before someone else did, but that's not why I'm calling. Brenner's voice was measured. I've been watching you, Scott. You gave up everything for a kid you barely know. That decision tells me something about your character. It tells you I'm an idiot. No, it tells me you finally figured out what matters, and that makes you interesting. Brenner paused. I'm not your enemy. I'm a businessman who recognizes potential. Meet with me. 1 hour. I think you'll be surprised. I don't have time. Then make time. Because in 3 days, you'll be completely out of money. Sleeping in your car during New York winter will kill you before you can save your daughter. Meet me at the Princeton Club tomorrow at noon. If you don't show, I'll never contact you again. But you're smart enough to know when you need help. The call ended. Liam spent the day in the hospital, staying in public areas, reading old magazines, remaining invisible. At 4 p.m., he saw Paige and Vincent leaving Amy's room. Vincent went toward elevators. Paige went to the cafeteria. Liam followed at a distance. She was at the coffee station when he approached. Paige, she turned. Exhaustion marked her face. What? I need to tell you something. I'm too tired, Liam. Say what you need and leave me alone. My mother had a stroke. She's paralyzed. She might never recover. The company's gone. I'm broke. I'm sleeping in my car. And tomorrow Amy has another procedure that might save her life, and I don't know if I'm strong enough anymore. Paige stared at him. Why are you telling me this? Because I have no one else. You're the only person who knows I exist. I'm breaking and I don't know how to stop. For the first time, something shifted in Paige's expression. Not forgiveness, human recognition. Come with me, she said. She led him to a small chapel, multi-faith space with chairs and dim lighting, and no one inside. They sat. I'm going to tell you something, Paige said, and you need to really hear it. Okay. The first year after Amy was born was the worst year of my life. I was alone. No money. Couldn't afford rent. Stayed in a Bronx shelter. Worked days. Returned to the shelter nights. Amy sleeping in a bassinet beside my cot. I was terrified every night something would happen to her. That she'd get sick and I couldn't afford a doctor. That someone would take her away because I couldn't provide. That I'd fail as a mother because I was alone. Paige's voice was steady, but her hands shook. Do you know what got me through? What? Rage, pure rage at you. I'd lie awake beside her bassinet, imagining you living comfortably, and I'd hate you so completely it gave me energy. I built Meridian on rage, became successful to prove I didn't need you. I'm sorry. Stop saying that, let me finish. Paige looked at him directly. That rage carried me 9 years, made me strong, made me successful, but also made me hard. Amy's doctors have been saying for weeks my daughter might die. And all I can think is if she dies, I'll never forgive you. Not because you weren't there for her life, but because I spent 9 years consumed by hating you instead of just loving her. Tears slid down Paige's face. I don't want to hate you anymore. I'm exhausted, and I can't carry this rage while watching my daughter fight for her life. What are you saying? I'm giving you something I never thought I'd give you. Permission to be here. Not as Amy's father, you haven't earned that, but as someone who's staying, as someone who finally chose her. Paige wiped her eyes. But understand, If you leave, if you disappear after she's better, if you break her heart again, I'll make sure you regret it. I have resources now, I have power, and I'll use all of it. Are we clear? Crystal clear. Good. Paige stood. Now figure out your situation. Get a hotel room, stop sleeping in your car, eat real food, because Amy needs you healthy and I can't worry about whether you'll die of exposure. I don't have money. Paige pulled out her wallet, withdrew $300 bills, put them on the chair. Take it. I can't take it. Consider it payment for bone marrow. Consider it whatever you need, but take it and get yourself a bed. Liam looked at the money. Pride wanted to refuse. His body screamed for a real bed. He took it. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just don't make me regret this. Paige left. Liam sat in the chapel for another hour, holding $300 and feeling like he'd been given more than money, a chance to not be completely alone. That night he checked into a budget hotel 6 blocks away, $60 a night. He could afford 5 nights carefully. He showered for 30 minutes, stood under hot water until his skin was red, washed away 8 days of parking lot grime. When he emerged, there was a text from Paige. Amy asked if you were okay today. I didn't know what to tell her. Liam typed back, tell her I'm okay. Tell her I'm not going anywhere. 3 dots appeared. Then, I'll tell her you're staying close. That's as much as I'm willing to say. It wasn't much, but it was more than nothing. At 11 p.m. his phone rang. Jasper. She died, Liam. Mom died an hour ago, never regained consciousness. She's gone. Liam sat on the edge of his $60 hotel bed and felt the last thread connecting him to his old life snap. I'm sorry I wasn't there, he said. Yeah, so am I. Jasper's voice cracked. Funeral in 3 days. Will you come? I don't know. Amy has procedures scheduled. I'll try. Try? Mum is dead. Our mother is dead. I know. And I'm sorry, but I can't leave Amy. Please understand. Jasper laughed bitterly. You really chose her over everything. Yes. I hope she was worth it. She is. She's worth everything. Jasper hung up. Liam sat alone and let himself feel it. Loss of his mother, destruction of his family, complete obliteration of everything he'd built. He cried for the first time in years, huge gasping sobs, and when he stopped, he felt emptier, but somehow cleaner. At 5:30 a.m., he walked into Memorial Hospital for Amy's procedure. Dr. Rahman was waiting with a tired smile. You got a hotel room. How did you know? You look like you actually slept. It's remarkable what basic shelter does. She handed him paperwork. Today's procedure is intensive. We're extracting significant bone marrow. It's going to hurt more than previous times. Ready? Yes. The procedure was brutal. They drove the needle deeper, pulled more marrow, and despite anesthetic, pain was excruciating. Liam gritted his teeth and stared at the ceiling and thought about Amy, fighting for her life with more bravery than he'd ever managed. When it finished, they helped him to recovery and told him to rest. He fell asleep immediately and dreamed of nothing. When he woke, someone sat beside his bed. Amy. She was in a wheelchair, still connected to an IV pole, wearing a hospital gown, looking impossibly small. Her eyes, his eyes, watched him with an expression he couldn't read. Hi, she said quietly. Hi. Liam's voice came out rough from anesthesia. They said you gave me a lot of your bone marrow today, that it hurt. It's okay. Why are you doing this? If you didn't care for 9 years, why now? Liam thought about lying, giving her a pretty answer, but Amy deserved truth. Because I was wrong. About everything. And I can't fix the past, but I can show up now. Even if you hate me. Even if you never forgive me, I can still be here. Amy was quiet for a long time. Then, my mom told me your mom died last night. She did. Are you sad? Yes. Are you mad at me for making you stay here instead of being with her? No, I'm grateful. Why? Because you gave me a reason to finally do the right thing, even if it was 9 years too late. Amy wheeled herself closer. I don't hate you as much as I did last week. That's progress. But I still don't like you very much. That's fair. And I don't want to call you Dad. You don't have to. Can I call you Liam? You can call me whatever you want. Okay, Liam. She tested the name. That feels better than nothing. A nurse appeared. Amy, sweetie, you need to get back to your room. Your mom is looking for you. Amy nodded, then looked at Liam one more time. Don't die in a hotel room. That would also be sad. Then she was wheeled away, leaving Liam alone with the most hope he'd felt in 10 years. His phone buzzed. Text from Cade Brenner. Last reminder, Princeton Club, noon today. This is your final chance. After today, you're on your own. Liam looked at the time. 11:15. He could make it. And for the first time, he was curious about what came next. Chapter 6. The offer that rebuilt him. The Princeton Club existed in a Manhattan most people only glimpsed in movies. Dark wood paneling worn smooth by generations, leather chairs older than members, oil paintings of dead men who'd built fortunes in industries that no longer existed. Liam arrived at 11:58, wearing his only clean shirt and feeling like an imposter in a building where he'd once held membership and now couldn't afford coat check. The receptionist recognized him immediately. Her expression shifted from welcome to pity and directed him to a private dining room on the second floor without making him sign in. Cade Brenner sat alone at a table set for two, reading the Wall Street Journal with reading glasses. 58, silver hair perfectly cut, wearing a suit probably costing $8,000, radiating old money confidence from never worrying about survival. He looked up when Liam entered, removed his glasses, gestured to the empty chair. You came. I honestly wasn't certain you would. Liam sat heavily. You said I didn't have a choice. We always have choices, Mr. Scott. The question is whether we're brave enough to make them. Brenner folded his newspaper with mathematical precision. You've made some interesting choices lately. Catastrophic from a business perspective, but interesting nonetheless. Tell me something. Do you regret abandoning your wedding? No. Do you regret losing Scott Industries? No. Do you regret the last 2 weeks sleeping in cars and hospital waiting rooms? No. Brenner smiled slightly, genuinely intrigued. Now that's fascinating. Most men in your position would be drowning in regret. But you're not, are you? Because you finally figured out what actually matters in life. If this is therapy, I can't afford your rates. This isn't therapy. This is a business proposition. Brenner leaned forward with sudden intensity. I've been in real estate development for 35 years. I've built buildings, destroyed careers, made fortunes, crushed competitors systematically. And you know what I've learned? The most dangerous people in this business aren't the ones who want success desperately. It's the ones who have nothing left to lose. They take risks no one else will take. They innovate because convention has already failed them spectacularly. They build things that shouldn't work but somehow do because they're too stupid or too desperate to quit. Where is this going? You're broke, homeless essentially. Your reputation is destroyed completely. Your family has disowned you. Your daughter tolerates you at best. You have nothing except an apparently infinite capacity to keep showing up. That makes you either the dumbest man in New York or the most dangerous. I'm not dangerous. I'm just trying to keep my daughter alive. Exactly. You have a purpose now. Real purpose, not the manufactured ambition that drives most of us. Brenner pulled out a folder and slid it across the table with deliberate slowness. Open it. Inside were architectural plans, financial projections, photographs of a massive empty lot in Brooklyn. What am I looking at? A $500 million development opportunity, 40-acre waterfront site in Red Hook, prime location. The owner wants to build luxury condos, the usual Manhattan bullshit. But I have a different vision. Brenner tapped the documents. Affordable housing, mixed income community. Actual housing for people who work in this city but can't afford to live here. green building standards, community spaces. It's ambitious, and it's going to make significantly less profit than luxury development, but it's also going to actually matter. Liam studied the plans carefully. They were brilliant. Innovative design, thoughtful community integration, financial structure that made it viable even with reduced margins. Why are you showing me this? Because I want you to build it. Come work for Titan Development, not in some corporate position, not as a consultant, as the lead developer for this project. I'll provide the capital, the resources, the team. You provide the vision and the leadership. Build something that matters. Prove that affordable housing can be profitable. Show the world you're more than the sum of your failures. Liam stared at the documents. Why would you trust me with this? Because the man who built Scott Industries was brilliant but soulless. The man sitting across from me now has lost everything and is still showing up for a daughter who barely tolerates him. That transformation tells me you finally developed something your success never gave you, actual character. Plus, you need this desperately. You need purpose beyond donating bone marrow and sleeping in budget hotels. Amy is going to survive, Mr. Scott. Dr. Rahman told me yesterday her prognosis is excellent, and when she's discharged in 6 weeks, you're going to need something to do besides follow Paige around like a ghost. This gives you that. What's the catch? No catch. Standard salary, $200,000 a year. You report directly to me. You succeed, we both win. You fail, well, you're already at rock bottom, so there's nowhere to fall. But I don't think you'll fail. I think you're going to build something extraordinary because for the first time in your privileged life, you actually understand what it means to have nothing. Liam looked at the plans again. A community. Real housing for real people. Something that mattered. I need to think about it. No, you don't. You need a job, income, and purpose. I'm offering all three. Say yes or walk away, but don't insult me by pretending you need time to decide. Liam met Brenner's eyes. The older man was right. He didn't need time. He needed a lifeline, and here it was, offered by the man who'd destroyed his family's company. Yes, Liam said firmly. I'll do it. Brenner smiled. Good. You start Monday. My office will email you onboarding documents. Salary starts immediately. You'll have your first paycheck by Wednesday. Use it to get an apartment, buy some clothes that don't look like you've been sleeping in them, and get yourself together. This project starts in 3 weeks, and I need you focused. They shook hands. Brenner's grip was firm, assured, testing. One more thing, Brenner said. Your brother Jasper called me this morning. Asked me to hire him. Said he could provide insight into Scott Industries operations. I told him I didn't need a failure's perspective. Why are you telling me this? Because family is complicated, and you chose your daughter over your family's legacy. That took courage, but your brother is drowning, your mother is dead, and the Scott name is essentially erased. At some point, you're going to have to decide whether you want to help rebuild what's left of your family or let them collapse completely. I can't tell you what the right answer is, but whatever you decide, don't let guilt drive your choices. Guilt makes weak decisions. After Brenner left, Liam sat alone in the private dining room for 30 minutes, looking at the architectural plans for a community he was going to build, a project that actually mattered beyond profit margins. His phone buzzed. Text from Paige. Amy had a good day. Her numbers are the best they've been since treatment started. Dr. Rahman says if this continues, she might be able to come home in a month instead of 6 weeks. Liam's chest tightened with relief, so profound he almost couldn't breathe properly. Another text. She asked about you again, asked if you were okay. I told her you had a meeting. She said, good. He needs to get his life together so I don't have to worry about him. Those were her actual words. Thought you should know. Liam typed back. Tell her I got a job. Tell her I'm going to build something that matters. 3 dots appeared. Then, she says congratulations. That's more than I expected her to say, honestly. Tell her thank you. The dots appeared again, disappeared, appeared again. Finally. I'm proud of you, Liam. I didn't think I'd ever say that, but I am. You're finally becoming someone worth knowing. Liam stared at that message for a long time, memorizing every word. Then he walked out of the Princeton Club into November afternoon light that felt less apocalyptic than before, less like the end of everything. He had a job, he had a paycheck coming, he had a daughter who was surviving. He had a future that wasn't just wreckage and regret. It wasn't redemption, not yet, maybe not ever, but it was a beginning, and beginnings were more than he deserved. He went back to his hotel room, opened his laptop, and started researching affordable housing development like his life depended on it, because in a very real way, it did. At 6 p.m., his phone rang. Jasper. Mum's funeral is tomorrow. Are you coming? Amy has a procedure tomorrow morning. I have to be there. So that's it? You're not coming to your own mother's funeral? I'll come to the memorial service next week if I can, but tomorrow I have to be with Amy. Jasper was silent for a long moment. You really did choose her over everything? Yes. I don't know if that makes you brave or insane. Neither do I, honestly. For what's worth, Mum's will was read today. She left everything to charity, nothing to either of us, said we'd both proven unworthy of the Scott legacy. Then I guess we're both free. Free, we're both broke and unemployed, and our family name is destroyed. How is that freedom? Because we get to decide who we are now. We're not Scott Industries heirs. We're just two men who have to figure out what we're worth without the family money. That's terrifying and liberating simultaneously. You sound like you've lost your mind. Maybe I have, or maybe I'm finally finding it. After the call ended, Liam sat at the desk and opened the folder Brenna had given him. He studied the plans meticulously, ran calculations, researched similar projects, and worked until 2 a.m. When he finally went to bed, he dreamed of buildings that hadn't been built yet, and a daughter who might one day not hate him. It was the best dream he'd had in years. Chapter 7. The Girl Who Called Him Dad. Winter came early to New York that year, and Liam woke Monday morning to the first snow dusting his hotel window like a promise of transformation. 4 weeks since he'd left Brielle at the altar. 3 weeks since he'd started working for Cade Brenner. 2 weeks since his mother's funeral he'd missed. 1 week since Amy had called him by his name instead of the donor for the first time. The mathematics of his new life were measured in small victories. His phone alarm went off at 5 a.m. He showered, dressed in one of the 2 work shirts he'd bought from a discount store, checked his bank balance. The first 2 paychecks from Titan Development had gone toward an actual apartment, a studio in Queens, $800 a month, no doorman, no luxury. But his name was on the lease, and that meant something. The 3rd paycheck went toward Amy's medical bills that Paige refused to let him help with, but he paid anyway through the hospital's billing office. Anonymous donations she probably knew came from him, but didn't acknowledge. By 6 a.m., he was at Memorial Hospital for Amy's morning checkup. These weren't extraction procedures anymore. Those had ended 2 weeks ago after the final emergency donation that stabilized her permanently. Now they were just monitoring her recovery, making sure the leukemia stayed in remission, tracking her progress toward discharge. Dr. Rahman met him in the hallway outside Amy's room. Mr. Scott, you're early. I like to be here when she wakes up. She's noticed. Yesterday she told me Liam is more reliable than my alarm clock. That's high praise from a 9-year-old. Has she asked to see me? Not yet, but she doesn't ask us to make you leave anymore either. That's progress. Through the window, Liam could see Amy asleep in her bed, Paige dozing in the chair beside her. Vincent hadn't been here in a week. He'd returned to Chicago permanently after he and Paige had quietly ended their engagement. Paige hadn't announced it publicly, hadn't made a big deal, had simply told Liam one day. Vincent realized he couldn't compete with the ghost of what we could have been. He was kind enough to admit it before wasting more of my time. Liam had wanted to ask what that meant, but Paige's expression made clear the subject was closed. Now, watching her sleep beside their daughter in early morning light, Liam understood what Brenner had meant about purpose. This was it. This room. This girl. This woman who'd built an empire without him and might never forgive him, but was at least letting him exist in her orbit. The door opened. Paige emerged, rubbing sleep from her eyes. Saw him standing there. You're here. I'm always here. I know. She walked to the coffee station down the hall. Liam followed. They'd developed this routine. Early morning coffee before Amy woke up. 10 minutes of conversation that wasn't about medical procedures, just two exhausted people learning how to exist in the same space. She's doing really well, Paige said, pouring coffee into 2 cups. Dr. Rahman thinks she can go home next week if her numbers stay stable. That's incredible. It is, and it's because of you. The bone marrow donations saved her life. Paige handed him a cup. I haven't said thank you. Not properly. You don't have to. Yes, I do. You gave up everything to be here. Your company, your mother, your entire life. You donated bone marrow 6 times. You slept in your car. You lost everything. And Amy is alive because you stayed. Paige's voice cracked slightly. So thank you for finally showing up, for finally choosing her. I should have chosen her 9 years ago. Yes, you should have, but you didn't. And we can't change that. What we can change is what happens next. Paige looked at him directly. Amy's coming home next week. I've been thinking about how to handle that. How to explain to her what your role is going to be. What do you want my role to be? I don't know yet, but Amy deserves to have both parents in her life if that's possible. Not because you've earned it, but because she shouldn't have to grow up wondering why her father wasn't there. She's had enough abandonment for one childhood. I'm not going anywhere. You keep saying that. It's been 4 weeks. That's not enough time to prove anything. How long is enough? I'll let you know when we get there. They stood in the hospital hallway drinking coffee as the sun rose over Manhattan, and Liam felt something he hadn't felt in years. The possibility of being forgiven, not today, maybe not ever, but eventually. At 7 a.m., Amy woke up. A nurse went in first to check vitals, then came out and said, "She's asking if Liam is here." Paige looked surprised. She asked for him by name. She did. Said, "Is Liam here yet? He's usually here by now." Liam's heart did something complicated in his chest. Paige nodded. "You can go in. But if she gets uncomfortable, leave immediately." Liam walked into room 347 for what felt like the 1,000th time, but this time Amy was awake and watching the door like she'd been waiting. "Hi," she said. "Hi. You're later than usual. It's already past 7. I got here at 6. I was in the hallway." "Why didn't you come in?" "Because you never asked me to. I didn't want to make you uncomfortable." Amy thought about this. "You can come in earlier. I don't mind." It was such a small permission, but it felt enormous. "Okay, tomorrow I'll come in at 6. "Good." She shifted in her bed, winced slightly. "Dr. Rahman says I might get to go home next week." "I heard. That's amazing." "I'm scared." "Why?" "Because the hospital is safe. They know what to do if something goes wrong. At home, what if I get sick again? What if the leukemia comes back?" Liam sat down in the chair across from her bed, not the one Paige usually occupied, but close enough to see Amy's face clearly. "Can I tell you something?" "Okay." "I've been terrified every single day since I walked into this room 4 weeks ago. Terrified you'd die before I could know you. Terrified I'd lose the only chance I'd ever have to be part of your life. Terrified that I'd fail you again. Fear doesn't go away just because you're at home or in the hospital. But what I've learned is that being scared means you care about what happens next, and caring is better than the alternative." Amy was quiet for a long moment. "You're scared of me." "Not of you. For you. There's a difference." "What's the difference?" "Being scared of someone means they have power over you. Being scared for someone means you care whether they're okay. I'm not scared of you, Amy, but I'm terrified for you every single day." "Why? You didn't care for 9 years." "You're right, I didn't, and I can't change that. But I care now, and I'm going to care for the rest of my life, whether you want me to or not." Amy looked at him with those brown eyes, his eyes, and something in her expression shifted. Not forgiveness, not acceptance, but acknowledgement. My mum says you built an empire and lost it all to be here. That's mostly true. Was it worth it? Yes, even though I don't like you very much. Even though you don't like me at all, because maybe one day you will, and that's worth everything. Amy was quiet again. Then, can I ask you something? Anything. Why did you leave my mom? Why did you know I existed and not come? Here it was, the question he'd been dreading, the one that deserved total honesty. Because I was scared and selfish. Your mom got pregnant and I had a choice, stay and be a father or leave and build a business career. I chose the career. I told myself it was the responsible choice, that I wasn't ready to be a father, that I'd be terrible at it anyway. But the truth is, I was just a coward. I didn't want the responsibility. I didn't want to change my life. So I ran, and every day for 9 years, I knew you existed somewhere, and I chose not to find you. I chose not to be part of your life, and that's the worst thing I've ever done. Do you wish you could take it back? Every single day. But you can't. No, I can't. So all I can do is try to be here now, and hope that one day that's enough. Amy pulled at a thread on her blanket, thinking. My mom built a whole company by herself. She's really strong. The strongest person I know. She did it without you. We both did. I know. So why should we let you be part of our lives now? What do you even bring? It was a devastating question, asked with the brutal honesty of a 9-year-old who'd learned too early that adults could fail you. I don't know, Liam admitted. Maybe nothing. Maybe I'm just here because I finally realized what I lost, and I'm trying to be less of a coward. But if you let me stay, I promise I'll keep showing up. I'll be at every doctor's appointment, every school event, every moment you'll let me be there for. Not because I'm trying to replace the years I missed, but because I don't want to miss any more. Amy looked at him for a long time. Then she said something that broke him completely. Okay. Okay? Okay, you can stay, but you have to prove it. My mom says trust is earned, not given. So earn it. How long do I have? Forever. Because if you leave again, I'll never forgive you. And neither will my mom, and we're both really good at holding grudges. I won't leave. You better not. The door opened. Paige came in with breakfast from the cafeteria. She saw Liam sitting there, Amy watching him with an expression that wasn't hatred anymore, and she stopped. What's going on? I told Liam he can stay, Amy said, but he has to prove he's not going to leave, forever. Paige looked between them. Amy, you don't have to. I know, but I want to. He's trying really hard, and I'm tired of being mad all the time. Paige set down the breakfast tray and sat on the edge of Amy's bed. Okay, if that's what you want. It is. But Mom. Yeah, baby. If he leaves, we're moving and not telling him where we go. Deal. Amy looked satisfied. She turned back to Liam. You can come earlier tomorrow. 6 is fine. I'll be here. And Liam. Yeah? Thank you. For the bone marrow and everything. Dr. Rahman says I'd be dead without it. So, thanks. It wasn't I love you, or you're forgiven, or even I like you now. But it was enough. Liam left the room before his voice could break, walked to the hospital chapel on the 1st floor, and sat alone in the quiet for 20 minutes. His daughter was going to live. She'd given him permission to stay, and Paige had witnessed it without objecting. It wasn't redemption. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't the family he'd destroyed 9 years ago, but it was a chance to build something new. And that was more than he deserved. His phone buzzed. Text from Cade Brenner. Progress report on the Brooklyn project by end of week. Don't let personal drama slow down the work. The project timeline doesn't care about your feelings. Liam smiled. Brenner was right. The world kept moving whether you were ready or not. He had a daughter who might one day not hate him, a job that mattered, and an apartment in Queens that was his. It wasn't much compared to what he'd had 4 weeks ago, but it was everything compared to who he'd been 9 years ago. He went back to work with purpose he'd never felt before. Chapter 8. Building Something Real. 6 weeks after leaving Brielle at the altar, Liam Scott stood in an empty lot in Red Hook, Brooklyn, watching winter wind tear across 40 acres of possibility and thinking about how devastatingly easy it was to destroy things and how impossibly hard to build them back. The architectural firm had delivered preliminary designs 3 days ago. Environmental surveys were complete. Community feedback sessions started next week, and Liam, who'd spent 15 years building luxury developments for people who already had everything, was about to build housing for people who had almost nothing. Cade Brenner appeared beside him in a cashmere coat, probably costing more than Liam's monthly salary. "What do you see?" 572 units of affordable housing, mixed income, community spaces, green infrastructure, a neighborhood that actually serves the people who live and work in this city instead of just displacing them. What else? Resistance, community pushback, financing challenges, the fact that every developer in New York is going to call this project financial suicide. Now you're thinking like someone who has nothing left to lose. That's dangerous and exactly what this project needs. Brenner pulled out his phone and showed Liam an email. "The mayor's office wants a meeting. They've heard about the project and they want to discuss potential city partnership, tax incentives, zoning support. This could be big, Scott." "Why are you giving this to me? You could have done this project yourself." "Because I'm 60 years old and I've built enough buildings for rich people. I want my legacy to be something that actually matters. And because you're hungry in a way I haven't been in decades, you're building this for your daughter, to prove to her that you're not the man who abandoned her. That's better motivation than profit margins." After Brenner left, Liam walked the perimeter of the lot, taking measurements, imagining foundations, seeing a community that didn't exist yet, but could. His phone rang. Page. "Amy's being discharged tomorrow morning. Dr. Rahman cleared her. She can come home." Liam's chest tightened with relief so profound it hurt. "That's incredible." "Yeah, it is." Page paused. "She asked if you wanted to come to the discharge. Be there when we leave the hospital." "Really? Don't make a big deal out of it. She's just gotten used to you being around. She thinks it's weird if you're not there." "I'll be there." "What time?" 10 a.m. And Liam, don't bring gifts or balloons or make it into some big moment. Just show up. That's all she wants. The next morning, Liam arrived at Memorial Hospital at 9:30, carrying nothing but himself. Amy was dressed in real clothes for the first time in 6 weeks. Jeans, a sweater Paige had brought, sneakers that looked too big. She looked healthy, color in her cheeks, energy in her movements. The transformation was staggering. "You came," Amy said when she saw him. "I said I would." "People say things all the time. Doesn't mean they do them." "I know, but I'm trying to be different than I was." They loaded Amy's belongings into bags, clothes, books, drawings she'd made during treatment, cards from Paige's employees at Meridian. A nurse came in with discharge instructions, medications, follow-up appointment schedules. Dr. Rahman appeared to say goodbye. "Take care of yourself, Amy. You're a fighter, don't forget that." "I won't." Amy hugged her. "Thank you for saving my life." "Thank your dad. His bone marrow did most of the work." Amy glanced at Liam, then away quickly. She still couldn't call him Dad, but she'd stopped correcting people when they referred to him that way. That felt like progress. They walked out together, Paige pushing Amy in a wheelchair per hospital policy, Liam carrying bags. The December air was sharp and cold, but felt like freedom after 6 weeks of recycled hospital atmosphere. A car service was waiting. Paige's company car, luxurious and warm. "Where do you live now?" Amy asked Liam as they loaded bags into the trunk. "Queens, a studio apartment near the hospital so I could stay close during your treatment." "Is it nice?" "It's fine. Not fancy, but it's mine." "Do you miss your old apartment?" "No. The old apartment was big and empty. The new one is small, but it actually feels like home." Amy thought about this. "Can I see it sometime?" Paige looked surprised. Amy, you don't have to. I want to. I want to see where he lives. Is that weird? No, baby, it's not weird. Paige looked at Liam. Maybe next week, after you've settled back home. They drove to Paige's apartment in Tribeca. The apartment was exactly as he remembered. Expensive, beautiful, filled with evidence of Paige's success and Amy's childhood. Photos on the walls, Amy's artwork framed and displayed. A life that had thrived without him. I'm going to rest, Amy said once they were inside. Can Liam stay for lunch? Paige hesitated. Amy, he probably has work. I can stay, Liam said, if that's okay with you. Fine, but you're helping me cook. I'm not serving you like a guest. They made sandwiches together in Paige's kitchen, a task so domestic and normal it felt surreal. Amy fell asleep on the couch watching TV. Paige and Liam ate at the kitchen island in silence for a while. Finally, Paige said, She's different with you than she was 6 weeks ago. She doesn't hate me as much. She never hated you. She hated what you represented. Abandonment, absence. But you've been here every day for 6 weeks. You've proven you can stay. That matters to her. Does it matter to you? Paige set down her sandwich. I don't know yet. I'm still angry at you for the 10 years you weren't here, but I also see you trying, and I see Amy responding to that, so I'm cautiously willing to see what happens next. What does that mean? It means you can be part of her life. Real part, not just medical emergencies. You can come to her follow-up appointments. You can see her on weekends if she wants. You can be her father if you can figure out how to do that without messing it up again. And what about us? There is no us, Liam. There's co-parenting. There's being civil for Amy's sake. But anything beyond that? I'm not there yet. Maybe I'll never be there. But maybe you will. Don't push. You don't get to have an opinion on my timeline. You lost that privilege 9 years ago. Fair enough. They cleaned up lunch together. Amy woke up around 2 p.m. asking for ice cream. Liam went to the corner store and bought 3 pints, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry. They ate it together in the living room while Amy told them about the book she wanted to read now that she didn't have to focus all her energy on surviving. At 4 p.m., Liam said he should go. You don't have to leave, Amy said. I know, but you need to rest and get used to being home. I'll come back later this week if that's okay. Okay. But Liam? Yeah? Thank you for staying, for all of it. You don't have to thank me. I know, but I want to. Liam left Paige's apartment feeling lighter than he had in years. His phone buzzed immediately. Cade Brenner, Mayor's office meeting tomorrow 9 a.m. Don't be late. This could make or break the entire project. The meeting the next morning was at City Hall with 3 deputy mayors, the housing commissioner, and a dozen city planners. They wanted details on the Brooklyn project, financing structure, timeline, community impact projections, long-term sustainability plans. Liam presented everything he'd been working on for 6 weeks, answering questions with the kind of precision that came from having nothing else to focus on except being perfect at this one thing. At the end of the 2-hour meeting, the housing commissioner leaned back in her chair and said, Mr. Scott, your reputation precedes you. 6 weeks ago, you were a punchline. The CEO who abandoned his bride and destroyed his family company. Why should the city partner with someone whose judgment is so catastrophically bad? The room went silent. Everyone was waiting for his response. Liam looked at her directly. You're right. My judgment was catastrophically bad for most of my adult life. I chose money over people, success over relationships. I built an empire that meant nothing and abandoned the only things that mattered. And 6 weeks ago, I finally made a different choice. I chose my dying daughter over my business. I chose showing up over running away. And I lost everything because of it. But what I gained was perspective. I understand now what it means to have nothing. I understand what it means when housing isn't a luxury but a necessity. I understand that communities matter more than profit margins, and that understanding makes me the right person to build this project, not because I'm redeemed or forgiven, but because I finally know what matters. The commissioner studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded. The city will support this project. Full partnership. Let's build something that matters, Mr. Scott. After the meeting, Liam called Paige. The city partnership came through. The project is happening. That's amazing, Liam. I'm proud of you. Thank you. That means more than you know. Don't let it go to your head. You still have years of proving yourself ahead. I know, but I'm ready for it. That night, Amy called him. Can you come over tomorrow? I want to show you something. Of course. What time? After school, 3 o'clock. When Liam arrived the next day, Amy was waiting with a notebook. I've been thinking, she said, about what you said, about showing up, about proving yourself. Okay. I made a list, things you have to do to earn being my dad, not just Liam, my actual dad. She handed him the notebook. Inside was a list written in careful handwriting. 1. Come to every doctor appointment for 1 year. 2. Learn what my favorite things are. 3. Read to me at bedtime when I ask. 4. Help me with homework. 5. Come to my school events. 6. Don't leave when things get hard. 7. Make mom smile. 8. Show me you love me, not just with words. Liam looked at the list, throat tight. This is a good list. Can you do it? Yes, all of it, for as long as you'll let me. Okay then. Amy took a deep breath. You can start now. I have homework, math. I need help. They sat at the kitchen table for an hour working on fractions, and when Amy finally understood the concept, she looked at him and smiled. Thanks, Dad. It was the first time she called him that, and it was worth everything he'd lost to hear it. Chapter 9. 1 year later. The Brooklyn project broke ground on a Tuesday in October, exactly 11 months after Amy had come home from the hospital. Liam stood at the construction site watching bulldozers move earth and thinking about foundations, how they were invisible once buildings rose, but determined everything about what could be built above. Amy stood beside him wearing a hard hat too big for her head, holding Paige's hand, watching the machines with fascination. This is really happening, Amy said. It is. 572 homes for people who need them. Because you wanted to build something that matters. Because I wanted to show you that people can change, that mistakes don't have to define you forever. Amy looked up at him. I know that, Dad. You've been showing me for almost a year. Dad. She'd been calling him that for 8 months now, ever since the night he'd helped her with her science fair project and stayed up until midnight helping her build a volcano that actually worked. It still made his chest tight every time she said it. Paige squeezed Amy's hand. Ready to turn the first shovel? The ceremony was small, just Amy, Paige, Liam, Cade Brenner, the mayor, a few reporters. Amy stepped up to the microphone they'd set up. My name is Amy Scott. I'm 10 years old. A year ago, I was in the hospital fighting leukemia. My dad gave me his bone marrow so I could live. He also gave up everything else he had to be there for me. And now he's building homes for people who need them, because he finally figured out what's important. Amy looked at Liam. I'm proud of him, and I'm glad he's my dad. The small crowd applauded. Liam's eyes burned. After the ceremony, they went to celebrate at Amy's favorite restaurant. Over pasta, Paige looked at Liam across the table. You've come to every single doctor's appointment for 11 months, she said, #1 on Amy's list. You learned all her favorite things. You helped with homework. You've been to every school event, even the boring ones. I'm working through the list. There's one item you haven't accomplished yet. Which one? Number 7. Make mom smile. Liam looked at her. I've been trying. I know you have. Paige's expression softened. For what it's worth, I smile more now than I have in years. Because of you. Because of how hard you're trying. Because you've proven that people really can change. Does that mean, don't push your luck, we're co-parenting successfully, we're friends maybe, anything beyond that? Paige paused. Ask me again in another year. If you're still showing up, still being the man Amy needs and the partner I deserve, then maybe we'll talk about what we could be. Another year. Another year. And Liam, don't ask before then, don't push, don't try to convince me, just be present, be consistent, be real. I can do that. We'll see. Amy interrupted. Are you two done being weird? Can we order dessert? They ordered chocolate cake with 3 forks. As they ate, Amy asked, Dad, when the building is finished, can we visit it? Of course, you can visit whenever you want. You're part of this project. Good, because I want to meet the families who live there. I want to know their stories. Why? Because Mum always says everyone has a story, and stories matter, even yours. That night, after dropping Amy and Paige off at their apartment, Liam drove back to his place in Queens. It was still small, still simple, but it was home. He'd added things over the year, photos of Amy on the walls, books, a coffee maker Paige had given him for his birthday, with a note that said, So you stop buying that hospital garbage. His phone rang. Jasper. Hey, I saw the news about the groundbreaking. Congratulations. Thanks. I've been thinking about what you said, about figuring out who we are without the family money. And I got a job, teaching business at a community college in New Jersey. It doesn't pay much, but it feels good, like I'm actually helping people instead of just making money. That's great, Jasper. Yeah, it is. His brother paused. I'm sorry. For everything, for wanting your job, for not being there when you needed support, for judging you when you chose Amy over the company. Water under the bridge. Is it, though, because I've been a terrible brother? Then be a better one now. That's all we can do, be better now than we were before. You really have changed. So can you. After the call ended, Liam sat in his apartment, looking at the photo on his desk. Amy, Paige, and him at the hospital on the day of Amy's discharge. They weren't smiling. They looked exhausted, uncertain, but together. It was his favorite photo because it showed the moment everything started to change. His phone buzzed. Text from Amy. Don't forget you're reading to me tomorrow night. Harry Potter, Chapter 12. Don't be late. Liam smiled and texted back, I'll be there. I'm always there. 3 dots appeared. Then, I know, Dad. That's why I love you. Liam stared at that message until his screen went dark. I love you. She'd never said it before. He typed back, I love you too. More than anything. Almost immediately. Even more than your old company? Especially more than that. Good. Mom says you're getting better at saying the right things. Tell your mom I'm trying. She knows. She told me you're on probation for another year. What does that mean? It means I have to keep proving I'm going to stay. Are you? Forever. Promise? Promise. Okay. Good night, Dad. Good night, Amy. Liam set down his phone and looked around his small apartment in Queens, so different from the penthouse he'd owned a year ago, the one with marble floors and city views, and absolutely nothing that mattered. This place had photos of his daughter, coffee from Paige, books he was reading to understand Amy's interests, a job that made a difference, a future that wasn't just about money. He'd lost a billion-dollar company, a family legacy, a life of luxury. He'd gained a daughter who called him Dad, a woman who might one day forgive him completely, and work that actually mattered. The math wasn't even close. He'd choose this life every single time. Liam opened his laptop and pulled up the plans for the Brooklyn project. Phase 2 was already in planning, another 300 units, more families, more communities, more chances to build something that lasted. His phone buzzed one more time. Paige. Amy's happy tonight, thank you for that. Liam typed back, she makes it easy. You make it easier than I thought it would be. Is that progress? Maybe. Ask me in a year. I will. I'll be here to ask. I know. That's what scares me. Why? Because I'm starting to believe you, and believing feels dangerous. Then don't believe my words. Believe my actions. 3 dots appeared and disappeared several times. Finally, I'm trying. Good night, Liam. Good night, Paige. Liam closed his laptop and went to bed in his small apartment with its thin walls and street noise and absolutely everything that mattered. Tomorrow he'd wake up and go to work on a project that would house families. Tomorrow night he'd read Harry Potter to his daughter. Tomorrow he'd keep showing up, keep proving himself, keep being the man he should have been 9 years ago. It wasn't redemption. It wasn't forgiveness. It was something better. It was becoming someone worth knowing, one day at a time. And that was enough. Chapter 10. The Long Road Home. 18 months after walking away from Brielle at the altar, Liam Scott sat in his daughter's elementary school gymnasium, watching her science fair presentation. Amy stood beside a poster board titled "How Bone Marrow Saves Lives," explaining to judges how his donations had kept her alive, her voice confident and clear. Paige sat beside him in the bleachers, their shoulders almost touching. "She's incredible," Paige whispered. "She gets it from you. She gets her determination from me. She gets her kindness from deciding to be nothing like you used to be." It should have stung. Instead, Liam smiled. "Fair." Amy finished her presentation. The judges nodded, made notes, moved to the next student. She ran over to them, grinning. "How did I do?" "Perfect," they said simultaneously. Amy looked between them. "You guys should go on a date." Paige blinked. "Amy, I'm serious. You've been doing this weird dance for over a year. Dad has shown up for everything. He comes to every appointment. He hasn't missed a single thing on my list. He built an entire neighborhood for people who need it. And Mom, you smile when you talk about him when you think I'm not listening. So just go on a date already." "It's not that simple, baby," Paige said. "Why not? You said trust is earned. He earned it. So what's the problem?" Paige looked at Liam, then back at Amy. "The problem is that I'm scared." "Of what?" "Of believing him completely, of letting him all the way in, of what happens if he leaves again." "He won't leave," Amy said with absolute certainty. "Dad, tell her you won't leave." "I won't leave," Liam said, looking at Paige directly. "Not ever. Not for anything." "See?" Amy looked satisfied. "Now go on a date. I'll stay with Uncle Graham." She ran off before either could respond. Paige and Liam sat in the gymnasium as other parents filtered out. "She's not wrong," Liam said finally. "About what?" "About me earning it. I've done everything on her list. I've been here for 18 months without missing anything. I've built a community. I've changed my entire life, and I'm still here." "I know. So can I take you on a date?" Paige looked at him for a long time. "One date, no promises, no expectations." "When?" "Friday night, 7 p.m. You pick the place." Friday came. Liam chose a small Italian restaurant in the village. Paige arrived at 7 exactly, wearing a simple black dress, looking nervous. "Hi," she said. "Hi." They sat, ordered wine, made awkward small talk about Amy's science fair, the Brooklyn project. Finally, Paige said, "This is weird. Very weird. We've known each other for almost 11 years. We have a daughter together, and this feels like a first date." "It is a first date. We never did this before. We went straight from meeting to relationship to pregnancy to you doing it alone for 9 years to me showing up in crisis." "You're right. We skipped this part entirely." "So let's do it now. Tell me something I don't know about you." Paige thought. "I almost gave up on Meridian 3 times in the first year. The only reason I didn't was because I had Amy. I couldn't fail her. So I kept going, even when it seemed impossible." "Tell me another thing. I used to hate you so much I couldn't say your name. Now I can't imagine co-parenting with anyone else." They talked for 3 hours, about everything, about the hard years, about Amy, about Paige's business, about Liam's project. At 10 p.m., Liam walked Paige to her car. "Thank you for tonight," she said. "Thank you for giving me a chance." "Liam?" "Yeah? I'm not ready to rush this. I need time. I have all the time in the world." "What if I'm never ready? What if I can't get past what you did? Then I'll still be here, as Amy's father, as your co-parent, as your friend. Whatever you're willing to give me, I'll take it." Paige looked at him in the streetlight. "You really have changed." "I had to. The alternative was losing everything that mattered." She kissed his cheek. "Good night, Liam." "Good night, Paige." 6 months later, the Brooklyn project opened its first phase. 200 families moved into new homes. Liam walked through with Amy and Paige, watching children play in community spaces. "You did this," Amy said proudly. "We did this, all three of us." That night, after putting Amy to bed, Paige and Liam sat on her balcony overlooking Manhattan. "I have something to tell you," Paige said. "Okay, I'm ready. Ready for what? For us, for trying, for believing that you're not going to leave. It took me 2 years, but I'm ready." Liam's heart stopped. "Are you sure?" "No, but I'm willing to try. Because Amy's right. You've earned it. You've shown up every single day for 2 years. You've built a life that matters. You've become someone I respect and trust and maybe even love." "Maybe?" Paige smiled. "Don't push your luck. Can I kiss you?" "You better." He did, and it felt like coming home after 10 years of being lost. 2 years later, Liam stood at an altar again, but this time Amy was beside him as his best person, wearing a lavender dress and grinning. Paige walked down the aisle alone, powerful and beautiful, choosing him this time. When the officiant asked, "Do you, Liam Alexander Scott, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife?" he didn't hesitate. "I do. Absolutely. Forever." "And do you, Paige Cheadle, take this man?" "I do." They were married in a small ceremony with 50 people who mattered. No society pages, no business mergers, just family and friends. At the reception, Amy gave a speech. "4 years ago, my dad left someone at an altar to save my life. Tonight, he's standing at a different altar, marrying my mum, because he spent 4 years proving he was worth a second chance. I'm glad he did, because he's the best dad I could have asked for, and he makes my mum really happy. So congratulations, Dad, you finally got it right." Everyone laughed and cried. Later, dancing with Paige, Liam whispered, "Thank you." "For what?" "For believing I could change, for giving me a chance, for making me earn it. Thank you for showing up every single day, even when it was hard." "It was never hard. Being here was the easiest thing I've ever done." "Liar. It was the hardest thing you've ever done. But you did it anyway. Because you and Amy are worth everything." Amy cut in. "Can I dance with Dad?" Paige stepped back, smiling. Liam danced with his daughter while Paige watched. "Are you happy, Dad?" "Happier than I've ever been." "Good, because if you mess this up, Mom and I are still moving without telling you where." "I won't mess it up." "I know. You never do anymore." The song ended. Another began. Liam pulled both Amy and Paige into a dance, the three of them laughing together. He'd lost a billion-dollar empire 4 years ago, lost his reputation, his family name, everything he'd built. He'd gained a daughter who loved him, a wife who believed in him, and a life that actually mattered. The trade wasn't even close. He'd make the same choice every single time. Liam Scott had finally come home, not to a penthouse or a company or a legacy, but to the 2 people who'd taught him what home actually meant, and he was never leaving again.